So everybody, I'm gonna do a little real talk here right now. Just had a very strong reminder that no matter what you do, people are gonna talk shit. People are gonna try to stop you from doing what you know you're supposed to do, and that is their fear. That is not because of you. Here's the deal. I'm gonna lay it straight the fuck out because I hope I hope that person sees this, comments on this fucking feed. Go ahead and talk, please, because you know what? Even your hate gets more attention. And I don't want attention because I'm a narcissist. I want attention because I want to help people. So, here's the deal. There is a lesson here. I started these on psilocybin discussions because I wanted to, for free, just be of service to the psychedelic community. I wanted to answer questions, provide insights in any way that I can after 25 years of taking psilocybin religiously, and I do mean religiously. After 10-something years of feeding psilocybin to people, I have literally given out more than 3,000 doses, and most of them significantly high doses of psilocybin. And I have monitored all of those hours of mushroom trips, and I have spent untold hours in integration sessions and helping people process and talk about their experiences, just being there with people as they process very deep and powerful emotions. Not for me. There's fucking thousands and thousands of hours that I have spent that nobody ever saw, nobody will ever see. Hundreds, if not thousands of hours that I spent standing beside people, silently being a support for them while they didn't even know I was there. So, I know that the comments that are coming at me are not because of me. I know that they're because of the person that is saying them to me. So, anyway, here's the deal. I started these on psilocybin things as a gift to give it out, and knowing that, it takes some courage, takes some resilience, because there will always be people that want to try and undermine your efforts. It's like my man Gary Vee says, there's two ways to get the tallest building in town. One is to build the fucking tallest building in town. The other way is to build a halfway decent building and then spend the rest of your time trying to fucking tear down all the other buildings around you so that you remain as the tallest building. I'm trying to build the tallest fucking building, that's all. And not just for me, I want to be in there too. But I want it to be big and tall so everybody can come in here and have a good time. Explore themselves. So, years ago when I got started in I'm so happy to tell this story in this context because I've been wanting to tell this story for a long time. It's a beautiful synchronistic story, and it also, because of where it's at, I won't say the ending, but the present state of where it's at illustrates that we're all just humans. We're all just people. So, for years, I grew shiitake and oyster and reishi and all that stuff, and hunted a lot of edible mushrooms. Hunted for psilocybin mushrooms, but never found them. Would purchase them black market, but never grew them because I was terrified of buying spores online. I just wasn't going to do it. I had a lot of family history with arrest over cannabis. My family lost a lot of property in the cornbread mafia. My uncles were number 2 and 3 in leadership in the cornbread mafia. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the largest outdoor U.S. cannabis bust ever. Johnny Boone and all that. So anyway, I've had some family trauma around all that. I remember when my uncles were arrested, and I was terrified to buy spores, so I never did. But I would study and study and study and learn how to grow, knowing that eventually spores would come into my possession. Well, there was this band that I used to go watch called Serpent Wisdom at this shitty dive bar. I hated this fucking bar. My ex-wife always wanted to go there because she loved dive bars. She ended up working at that dive bar after we got divorced. But there was this band, Serpent Wisdom, that used to play there, and the lead singer was a retired English teacher. And he and I got on real well. He was a weird, kind of quirky guy, but a white man, and also, like myself, very interested in Afrocentric culture and the diasporic history. So, go to these shows, and there was always this older, long white hair, long white beard guy there drinking beer. And we'd sit there and have some beers, and we'd end up talking. And eventually we ended up talking about mushrooms just because I always taught mushrooms. So it probably was within the first time or two that I sat down there that we taught mushrooms. Well, he was a mushroom guy too. And I never knew his name. In my head, he was Gandalf just because he looked like Gandalf, you know. And I loved talking with him because he was probably the only person at the time that I could really talk in depth about mushrooms with. So we crossed each other's paths probably 4 times over the course of a year, 18 months, something like that. And eventually one night we're sitting there and he said, so if you had some psilocybin spores, would you know what to do with them? Push my beer back. Oh, I've been waiting for this moment. Of course I would know what to do with them. And he's like, well, okay, what are you doing Monday? So I'm working, but I could meet you on my lunch break. I could meet you not far from the school where I work. And he's like, all right, well, where's your school? So, Jackson Liberty. Okay, Monday at noon, I'll be at the corner of Jackson and Liberty. I'll have you some spores. So, Smoky Bear. Monday at noon comes, and it's so ironic that I'm actually in the Sanctuary Church building right now, which is very close to Jackson and Liberty, very close. And so anyway, Monday rolls around, corner Jackson Liberty, I haven't done any standing. Sure enough, here he comes on a bike rolling up. White beard blowing, white hair blowing, and sleek black glasses, wraparound glasses. Pulls up, hands it out, and says, may the force be with you, and drives off. All right. So my wife and I were on the outs already, and probably 3 months after I got those spores, she and I started our divorce. And by then I had been growing mushrooms. I had successfully grown a few batches of mushrooms from that spore print via the PF Tech or the BRF Tech, for those of you who know that method. And it was incredible, you know, like growing your own psilocybin mushrooms. I mean, I love still all mushrooms. Loved psilocybin mushrooms. Felt so powerfully connected. Like, these are my sacrament. First time I ate them, I was like, yeah, this is home. This is where I've been wanting to get back to. And so growing my own mushrooms was incredibly special. And the people that I would give my mushrooms to would say, these are very special mushrooms. I've had experiences unlike any other from these mushrooms. And it was powerful. Well, we got divorced and I moved out, and of course took all my grows with me. And never went back to that bar because my wife and I divorced. I hated the fucking bar, like I said. And just kind of let it go that I would never see this dude again, or maybe never see that band again. Didn't know. So, man, that was in 2003. So 2009, I started my farm up in Indiana, and I was making oyster kits out of a locally cloned oyster mushroom. So these are those grow kits that you can put in your kitchen or living room, whatever, and you just mist them and water them, and the mushrooms grow out the side of the bag. I was selling those locally through Facebook, and I had some guy whose Facebook name, I'm not gonna, since he goes by a pseudonym on his Facebook, I won't call him out because I don't want anybody messing with him. But this person through their Facebook account contacted me and didn't have a picture on their Facebook profile. It was like a green man or a forest creature or something like that. Said, hey, I see you're doing wild oyster or locally cloned oyster grow kits. I'd love to buy one. I was like, okay, great. I'd love to sell you one. I can deliver it to you if you like. And so he gave me his address. I also didn't have a picture on my Magnificent Mushrooms page because it was always about the mushrooms and not about me. I think one mistake that I have made over the years is just putting myself to the back. It's not that there's anything wrong with stepping back and letting other people get credit and letting the mushrooms are the healers, right? I'm just helping to deliver them to you. But in doing that, I've allowed other people to speak for me, and that's changing these days. So anyway, it wasn't about me. It was about the mushrooms. This guy gives me his address. I pull up to this dilapidated house, just literally like fucking boards falling off of it. Just looked like a haunted house. Knock on the door, a little trepidatiously, and what do you know? It's him. You already know where this is going, right? It's him. And he's like, opens the door, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and we're both like surprised, like it's obvious, and we're both like, oh, and he's like, oh, it's you, and I was like, it's you. I've always wondered what happened to you. I've always wondered if you grew those mushrooms. I'm still growing mushrooms. I've cloned my own strain. I've developed my own strain. Blah, 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 blah. So we go inside. I go inside, and the house. The inside of the house is more terrifying than the outside of the house. But I go in, and he's like, I think you got something. I got something you'd like to see. So I figure he's going to show me a mushroom grow or something, right? So I go inside, walk around, and there's a painting on the wall that when I saw it, it's a painting of a red, yellow, and green and black striped snake climbing up an Amanita muscaria. And when I saw the painting, I was like, that's my fucking style. Somebody stole my style of painting. And I looked a little closer in the corner, and it was my initials. I had painted the painting. And I had given it to the singer for the Serpent Wisdom Band years before, and had totally forgotten it. I've done a number of paintings that I've forgotten, and I see them all like, oh shit, I was in a trance when I did that shit. And so it was incredible. It was like we were reunited. I thought like this was like, I was so grateful for this person and him being the vessel. And he eventually came to tell me that the mushrooms told him to give me those spores, that he would take doses of mushrooms and he'd be tending of his mushrooms, and they would just be like, gotta give these spores, give him spores, give him spores. Which, whatever. That's what he told me. That's not my story to you. And so maybe that'll make more sense in a little bit here. So anyway, time goes by, and we decide to do some mushroom doses together, and we do mushroom doses together, and this guy's like in his 60s then, and I thought that he was like, initially, I've had a tendency to be really, to kind of put people on pedestals, and I thought he was this, really experienced psychonaut. He must be in communication with the divine, and I found out that wasn't the case. I mean, he's afraid to take more than 5 grams of mushrooms, and even that, it was very, very, very seldomly, and even then when he did, he'd freak out. He used to call himself the chicken shit shaman. And eventually it just got to be where he was just kind of bad vibes. The vibes were just like always complaining how shitty everybody else is and how shitty life is and Trump and Biden and everybody fucking sucks, but and even he sucks. Him. It's just like fucking. Whew. You know how it is when you're around people that are just like everything is a complaint and everybody's a shithead. So I just kind of distanced myself from it because I just I'm not into it. I don't want those vibes. And I've been going along, just doing my thing, y'all. I'm just fucking doing my thing. And I have had so many hurdles. I've had so many people try to talk shit about me. There's fucking Business Insider articles talking about how dangerous I am. Psychedelics Today, all their shit about how shitty I am. Guardian, I think, wrote an article about me being whatever, untrained. All these fucking people and their training, being trained by people that have never taken mushrooms. Like I don't mean to come across or like I'm not an ass. I mean I can be very asshole like. I can play a really good asshole, and I have tons of respect for qualified therapists and trip sitters and just whatever, everybody that's doing a good job. But in the psychedelic world, there's a hell of a lot of people out there talking like they know what's up and they don't. Talk about some imposter syndrome. Anyway, so the imposter syndrome is what I've been kind of struggling with today. I've got this thing coming up tonight on Psilocybin tonight, feeling nervous, knowing that there's people talking shit. I had someone message me after the last one who is a professional or involved professionally in psychedelic field and message me saying in this group thread saying, boy, you sure do flip-flop on your microdosing beliefs or whatever, which isn't true. I mean, my philosophy for a very long time has been it doesn't hurt. It's probably not as good for us as it's made out to be. It's not worth all the hype, but it's got to be good for you to some extent. I mean, you're consuming a fucking neurogenerative molecule. Like, it's completely non-toxic. So consuming a 10th to a 20th of a gram of psilocybin, it's definitely not hurting. Is it helping? I don't know. Research says both. There's research that says yes, and there's research that says it's pure placebo. So I don't flip-flop any more than the research does. But it just goes to show that, and I don't mean any disrespect to you know who you are if you watch this video. Like, I get it. We're all just trying to figure things out. We're all just trying to have conversations. Shit comes across way different in text versus in a phone call or a video call, But it did kind of seem like, call you out on some shit here. Call me out fucking publicly. That's why I'm having these on psilocybin so we can talk publicly. So anyway, I'm going through this kind of imposter syndrome stuff today because I am not trained as a therapist. I am not trained under any shamanic tradition. I developed my own fucking practice. That's what I did. I spent 25 years working with psilocybin. I spent 15 years working with psilocybin before I ever decided I would go out and try to dose the public. And when I did decide that I would go out and dose the public, I took hella psilocybin by myself to be fully exposed to the potential terrors and insanity that it can induce and the benefits that go along with all that. So anyway, somebody learns teaches themselves how to ride a bike and everybody fucking applauds them and wants them to be a bike teacher. Somebody teaches themselves how to work with psilocybin and, the rest of the world wants to tell them that they are unfit. So it is something that I struggle with. But I also know that I do know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. I say that I don't know what I'm talking about because there's so much that I don't know and we're always in a state of exploration. But the reality is, if you want to eat mushrooms with somebody that can hold it down, I'm your dude. I'm your fucking guy. I can hold it down. Now, she gets wonky. Anyway, I don't want to get too, the time you get too egotistical with mushrooms is when they will kick your ass. So always be prepared for anything. So anyway, this guy, we'll find his name on Facebook. The irony that someone who's been going by a pseudonym on Facebook for 10 or 15 years is going to be giving me shit. First of all, he started saying shit on the Sanctuary page, YouTube page, about this being a cult, and how mushrooms cost $60 a dose, and you don't need a cult to teach you how to take mushrooms well. First of all, a dose of mushrooms, depending on the dose, and I've dosed people, like I said, in like 20, 25 gram range, taking massive doses myself. It's not gonna be $60 on the street. And the other thing is that this guy that's making this comment doesn't even fucking take mushrooms anymore. He's fucking scared to take them. So, my dear beautiful wife posts a little, whatever, Facebook ad for the On Psilocybin's night. Just to get people to come in, know that's happening, come on, be part of the conversation. And this bitch goes on there and has it in him to say, I'm a narcissist. Just that's the only thing underneath of the comment. The thing is narcissist. And I am not gonna lie if I said that didn't sting. It does. It does sting, because this is somebody that should be proud of me. This is someone who should be like, dude, you're fucking rocking it. You're out there giving psilocybin to so many people who need it. You are doing it right here publicly in Kentucky through your church when the vast majority of people are still scared shitless to talk about it. Your family, many friends have distanced themselves, if not altogether left you for dead because of what you're doing. You went to jail for what you're doing, and you keep it up. And there's so many fucking things that I have dealt with to be here that he'll never know and you'll never know. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, like Superman, motherfuckers, never give up, never stop. That's what it's about. If you've got something that you want to accomplish, for me, it is to bring as much healing through psilocybin to this world as possible, this world that is in desperate need of it. Then I say, do it. Don't stop. If you know in your heart this is what you are here to do, whatever it is, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it. And there will be reflections of you that try to stop you. You know how sometimes you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I suck. I can't do this. They're going to be out there coming at you through social media and all that stuff, and maybe meet you on the street. He rides his bike around here all the time. Maybe he'll ride by and tell me what to make fucking egg our building or something. Who knows? You can't put anything past people. That is for sure. Especially people in their jealousy. When people are jealous because they want to do what you're doing and they won't admit it to themselves. It's one thing if they say to you, oh, I'm jealous. I really wish that I was doing what you're doing. But if they come at you with hate, throw shade at you, and try to pretend like you're a shitbag, when the reality is they feel like a shitbag and they're not doing what they want to do, they're not following their heart and their inspiration, you don't fucking know what's coming. You don't know. So, still, don't give up. Don't stop. Pursue your passions. Pursue your dreams. That's all I really want to say. And also, no, I want to say one other thing. Jim, I forgive you. It's okay. I know. I've seen how you see yourself, and it's all right. I mean, we're all struggling. I fucking hated myself for years. I'm only just coming, I feel like, to the other side of really being able to love myself and acknowledge the good that I bring to this world. So I hope the same for you. It's okay that you say the things that you say. It does hurt. I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't, because it really does. You're someone who I have looked to in many ways as I don't know, not, I wouldn't say a role model, but someone who I wanted to be proud of me. And, you know, it is what it is. My parents ain't proud of me either. So, I gotta get to a call with a amazing. I think this guy's pretty amazing. I don't want to put him on a pedestal again, but this guy's been going at it for years. I've seen him working on the sidelines, just slugging away when other people are talking shit about him. This is the first conversation that we've ever had. So, yeah, man, just encourage everybody to keep going. Never stop.